Hi, Lorraine. Thank you for joining us.
Hey Gabriel, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rebuild Your Relationship course that you've taken and start with an introduction. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Lorraine, and I had found this course looking online because I had been struggling for a good portion of a year uh, with communication and getting what I needed to really have like joy and happiness with
Right,
my relationship.
right,
Uh, I was just really I was just really battling, like not understanding why he and we could have such a good time together, but whenever we really tried to communicate our needs to each other,
mm,
nobody was really being heard. No one was really actively listening, and
right,
just the things were just more important than actually like having a solid relationship. So instead of like talking to my friends or my family, I went online, and I found the course, the online website, Simply Together, that had great articles,
thank you.
lots of insight. And I think what I liked the most was um, you and Carolina, like you put it right out there for anyone looking at the website that had personal experiences with ups and down in relationships. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, these are the people I want to talk to because they're gonna understand and they're gonna get it. But you
Th-
put it all out there that you went back and forth and you were trying to learn how to communicate with each other,
exactly. Same problems, right?
right? And
And
it's just helpful, I think, to be coached by people who are openly saying to you, yeah, like you're something I went through. And I found a lot of it very relatable. So
yeah,
that's how I found you guys.
thank you for saying that. That's actually kind of a big reason why we also put so much of our story in it and everything, because we feel like it's all well and good to say like these are the steps, this is exactly what you have to do, but when you hear someone's story and you understand, hey, like they've been through this too and somehow they figured out how to get out, it it I don't know, I find it just like takes grounds it all a bit more in reality and people's experiences. And yeah, we did very much struggle with the same things, communicating our needs and things just totally going by. Like you say the right words, but it just doesn't land. So yeah, and you were how long was your were you in a relationship with your boyfriend?
Um, at the time that I came to find your coaching classes, it had been a year and 3 months.
Right.
Um, and I probably would have benefited from finding something sooner, but it really took me that long to come to this point. I guess what happened was I had a feeling I was going to lose this relationship,
Mm.
and I didn't want to lose this relationship, but everything I was doing didn't seem to be working. And
Right.
I just really, it means a lot to me. The relationship means a lot to me. And I just said to myself, maybe there's just different approaches to take that I'm just not aware of.
Did you find those different approaches?
I did find those different approaches, and I also learned that they take work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's easy to just talk them out or read about them or write them down, but it's
Right.
not like the one you do it once and it sticks.
Yeah.
Like you have to really have an understanding of like what is not working in your relationship and continually try different
Yes.
approaches until you can find one that works. And when that works, you can't just say, oh, okay, like problem solved and we're moving on. Like,
Mm.
no, I found over time, same issues keep coming up.
Yeah.
And I have to go back and kind of like reread and like reintroduce myself to the information
Mm-hmm.
together to remember, hey, this is what worked the first time, try it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and myself to
Yeah.
get into the new. the new habits, to form the new ways of communicating. If you don't constantly work at them, then they're never going to stick.
Yeah, and it's thank you for saying that, because it was very much the exact same thing for us again. Like, you see it, you understand it in theory, but then you do have to actually do the work and apply it and revisit, because it's messy, right? It isn't you get it and then suddenly you have all the results you've ever desired. You do have to do the work and reprogram a lot of what you may have previously assumed, right, about how relationships work. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and on that note, what was your experience with the course? Like, what did you like? What didn't you like so much? What worked well for you?
Well, one of my favorite things about the course was its accessibility. It's always available whenever I needed it.
Hmm.
So if at 8 o'clock at night I'm rethinking the conversation I had earlier and I said, I really didn't like the way that goes or how that went, like, let me go back to the course and let me reread or re-listen to the chapters and kind of reprogrammed into my brain. So the accessibility was great. It had a flow. And this is one thing that kind of took me off guard about it, which I really appreciated at the end.
Okay.
When I put it out, it seemed like we're talking about an isolated part of, like, okay, here's a little topic on communication.
Hmm.
Here's a little topic on how to fight right. Or here's a little topic on, like, how to not be needy. And at first, they didn't seem connected. So I'm going through the individual chapters, and as I went through, one built up to the next, and the next one built up to the next.
Right.
And in the last chapter, it created a full picture.
Awesome.
So there was some suspense, I guess, in a sense, because I'm like, where's it going? Where's it going? And then at the final end, it really all just came together. Very nicely done, very well thought through, very properly worded. And that was one of the things that I liked that surprised me, was like, now I understand why the chapters got broken down the way they did, which I didn't understand when I started, but by the time I got to the end, that was when the little light came on.
Yes.
And now I get it.
I'm happy to hear that too. We actually really very consciously did it in a chronological order, starting with things we considered to be the more introductory, easier to grasp, and then gradually become increasingly complex and interwoven, and seeing how it all informs each other. Like, things that happen at an earlier stage in a relationship still inform the present day point in a relationship. And to understand some of these concepts, it's important to really let the knowledge build on top of each other, which is why in the introduction we actually say, ideally you go through this chronologically. Most students don't, but jump to the chapter that I really want to hear about, which is great too, and different people are obviously in different stages, but that's really nice to hear too. Thank you.
Well, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about, having it accessible to me at all times, because the first time I went through it, I did it chronologically, because it was like a year and a half of a relationship where I just struggled. And then, like, the relationship ended. And so being able to, like, reach out to you guys and have you guys have this course online, like I said, okay, like, we have run the gamut. We've had the relationship, we've had the fun, we've had the problems, and we have broken up, and now we're trying to start again. So I said, let's start it at the beginning, and let's make sure we don't miss anything. Yeah. So going through chronologically, after all that stress and heartache and a breakup and trying to rebuild it, was so helpful. I don't think I would have really benefited at that point after our breakup and we restarted if I picked and choose. I realized this is a second chance. I need to have all the information and I need to take my time and go through it. That being said, once I'd gone through it chronologically, there were chapters that spoke more to me on my own personal level regarding my individual relationship.
Yeah.
So chronologically to get an understanding of how it's all interwoven, but then having the accessibility to go back to the chapters that speak to me on a personal level with my relationship was, like, invaluable.
Yeah.
Like it's always there.
Awesome. Awesome. Great to hear. And did you have any big aha moments, any turning points, something you learned that really impacted your
It
relationship?
still to this day like makes me kind of smile and giggle, but
Hmm.
I thought I understood the concept of giving space.
Hmm.
I
Right.
clearly didn't understand the concept of giving space until after I'd gone through the course, and I said to myself, you're actually really not doing it. And so without the course, I never really would have come to understand like how important that is
Hmm.
to actually do the thing.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not seeing them for a couple of days doesn't actually mean you're giving them the space they need. Like, there's
Hmm.
so much more. So even to this day, I giggle because I was always so easily to say like, oh, I don't need to see my boyfriend every day. I don't need to be texting him every day. But I still wasn't getting the results. And you hear like,
Hmm.
him, give him space. And I was like, but I'm doing all that.
Right.
And then I course, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing all that at all. So I had a really big aha moment with the importance of maintaining my own individuality,
Mm.
invest myself in things outside the relationship.
Right.
There's a huge difference
There
for
is.
me
Absolutely. Yeah. Hmm.
versus when my boyfriend and I are not together and we're not like texting all the time. There's a big difference between like when I'm just sitting around like twiddling my thumbs, not doing anything, and when I actually go out and continue to live my life,
Yeah,
give the
definitely.
best of myself. It always seems to bring him back.
Yeah, it
But
does. That's the irony in it, right?
and that's why I said that was like my
Yeah.
aha, because there's
Yeah.
I said I thought I was giving the space the right way. I was not giving the space the right way. So
Yeah. So is it fair to say the course improved your relationship?
yes, and it improved me in my relationship as well.
Yeah. I mean, it ultimately does all start with what you can control, right? Like, there's only so much you can control. Like a lot of the knee-jerk responses often that we try, like make our partner see things a certain way or make them reason, like try reason. But ultimately, it really is just where we're coming from and our attitude and the approaches we take that we can fully control. And that, again, ironically, is like what gets you the best results. It's the most effective, like letting
It
go and
it was it actually reminded me the other day when I was watching something on TV, and the famous dog trainer Cesar Millan has a
right.
new show out. And you know, if you really watch that kind of thing and you pay attention, he's not actually training the dog; he's training the person.
Yes.
And a lot of like with the Simply Coaching course, yes, it is helping build a better relationship. It is giving you the tools you need to make it better, but essentially, like it's training the individual how to do better and be better and understand the relationship they're in better.
Yeah. And
I,
ultimately, yeah. Sorry.
I always saw that as a similarity, right? Better results from your dog, and you
Yeah.
think that this guy showed up to make your dog better, but essentially, you know, you really had some personal things that, like for me, I needed to work on them,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't so much that the relationship wasn't working, it's just that I didn't know how to work right in the relationship because I didn't have a full picture of all the different approaches and all the different things I could be doing
Yeah.
to make it a happier and more joyful relationship.
Definitely. And having heard you say that, like there are obviously two sides to every relationship. It's not all on you. It's not all on. I don't want anybody thinking, like, oh, it's all my fault and like I have to fix myself. And there are two sides, but there's only you can only control your side, right? You can only
Right.
control yourself, and that alone can get you huge results. Even if you're not applying everything, even if you're just applying something. Yeah, awesome. That's great. Thank you. And is there anything else you'd like to share with people watching this that might be in relationship challenges of their own, struggles they might be having?
I think firstly, just for anybody who might be like looking around for resources on struggles that they're having with their relationship is to just understand that there's a lot of different approaches and there's a lot of different resources available that can sort of help and facilitate what you need to get done, and that you shouldn't, like, I was a little nervous at first,
Mm-hmm.
like reaching out to complete strangers on the other side of the world to say,
Right.
I'm having these troubles, like, do you guys think you can help me? It takes a little bit of humility and a little bit of being brave, and I would just encourage
Yeah.
people, like, don't be worried about how scary it is, or being judged, or thinking that it might not help you out, because if you're in a relationship and you're struggling and you're really trying to make it work, individuals like you and Carolina, you really have the life experience, you really have like the right temperaments, and it can be very helpful, but you're never going to know if you don't try to do it. So I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend reaching out to Simply Together. I think it's been a great site for me. It's really made a difference, but I just know that a lot of people out there would just be nervous about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're saying, like, it's admitting there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And I think there's nothing wrong with
No.
you. It's just your ability to look at a situation like a relationship and go to some people and say, hey, what can I do better?
Yeah.
How can I do this better? Like, I'm invested in this. So that would be my biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like, people, it's all good.
Definitely. Thank you. And it's interesting you say that, because something we've really learned and noticed over the course of, like, even before starting our website, starting Simply Together, and especially just been reinforced afterwards, is that everybody has problems in their relationship. Some bigger, some smaller, but everybody struggles in some way, shape, or form, and that's okay. Like, you don't need to feel bad about that. Like, there's a bit of a taboo around it, we find, like, because everybody has to present this image of, like, I've got it all together, my life and my relationship, and we're so happy and everything's perfect, when we're human and we have problems, and it's okay to acknowledge those and reach out for help if you need it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
One of the things that I know Carolina says in the online course is that it's not really about striving for a perfect relationship. It's striving for a happy relationship.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that, as like an aim of Simply Together, that is something that you guys aim for, that
Yes.
you strive to achieve, and that you have helped me actually achieve in my relationship, to learn that I am not perfect. I am not going to be perfect, and that is okay.
Thank you. That's beautiful to hear. That's the message we want to put out there. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Lorraine, and sharing your story with us.
I'm happy to.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see you around.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take care. Bye bye.